I gotta say that this is unironically heartbreaking to see. The utter sheer devastation that happened in the AAA gaming market this year. And this is affecting Western gaming. I noticed that when it comes to the Asian market, like a lot of people are playing games on their phones now. A lot of people have moved to the bottom of the barrel, really, which, is the Gunnar slop, as they call it. But the reality is just like developers that understand what the market wants, and they're getting the market. And the market wants characters that are either sexy, that are cool, or that are cute. Like, think about the Draenei, think about the Night Elves. Like, that's what gamers wanted since before 2014. And this is what gamers keep wanting. Tali Zora Vas Normandy, right? Like, it's a character that's sexy, that's cool, and it's cute. Like, that is what people want to play, at least young men, right? And so it's not that the developers of 2024 didn't want to give them that. It's that they said, no, like, what they want is wrong. They're evil people. They're sick in the head for wanting this. We are going to make them so they want characters like Abby. We're going to make them so that they want hag maxing. We're going to make them so that they want women in wheelchairs. We're going to make them so that they want people with cellulitis and skin disease. And if anyone complains, we have ideological zealots that are going to shame them into submission. And then they're going to eventually create a new trend. And people are going to buy our video games. And we're also going to fire most of our talented developers that don't think this way. And we're going to hire new faces that are cheaper to pay and making sure that they have our vision. And so the games that are coming out now are probably games that were made back in 2020, 2021, because the making of a AAA game is usually a 4-year cycle. So we're literally seeing the games that are coming during peak woke culture. And the thing with the woke culture is that they absolutely despise gamers. And they also despise cisgender straight white men. Like, they're open about it, right? Like, identity politics is open about it. They're willing to tell you this is not a secret. And so they're getting into the industry, which a lot of the purchasing power does come from the cisgender straight white men. They tried to lie to the shareholders. They basically said that, well, gaming is 50% men and 50% women. Which is true, but when you're talking about a specific game, like when you're talking about Mortal Kombat, I guarantee to you it's not 50-50. Like, if I was to make it so that I show you a nickname from a person that plays Mortal Kombat, right? We look at Skullfuck47, and I ask you, like, what do you think Skullfuck is? Is he a man or a woman? If you guess correctly, I give you $10,000. How likely do you think you are to get those $10,000? Like, let's be honest a little bit. The games that they were criticizing, the games that they were diversifying, weren't games that were catering to women. It was games that were catering to young men, not even like men in general, right? They weren't like diversifying the 4X genre. They were diversifying the games that teenagers usually play. And so what you end up with is you're putting people in charge that absolutely hate the consumer base, and we know this because they're very vocal about it. Community managers are incredibly outspoken about what they want to do, to the point where I even made the segment Community Managers from Hell. And the perfect example is not with a video game, but it's a board game where people who are disillusioned by the change that Amazon was making to 40K decided to jump into another game called Trench Crusader. And the community manager, like, went, no, we don't want any bigots here. Like, despite the fact that there were hundreds, if not thousands of people pouring into the Discord, and they genuinely liked the game. And so the community manager did anything in their power to make absolutely sure that everything stands between success and the board game. And that's just like one of the many stories. And what you have now is, again, like, a lot of people, in fact, it's getting to the point where I don't know a single person that hasn't at least tried one Asian game. Whether it's games from South Korea or games from China, or, Japan is actually starting to follow the West, so a lot of people are getting upset with some of the decisions coming from Japan. But yeah, most people they have at least played or heard about video games like Zoneless Zone Zero, Nikkei, Genshin Impact, Path of Exile 2, Wukong. And it's so fucking weird, like when you talk about phone games, like when you talk about Nikkei and Zoneless Zone Zero, I didn't even know these games existed 3 years ago, and neither would I care. Like, do you think like during the age of Mass Effect, I would have cared about Nikkei? Do you think like when Dragon Age was coming up, I would even give Nikkei a chance? It's like absolutely not. And even now, if I know the story of Nikkei, and I would have like actual, genuinely good AAA games to play, I wouldn't even bother. And the success of these Asian games are mostly because of the West self-sabotaging itself. And so what I expect in the short run is that some of the platforms, especially Nintendo and Sony and many others, will tighten regulations regarding sexual content. They're going to make it so that anything that arouses, like literally anything, even if the woman is fully clothed, as long as it has the potential to arouse, it's going to get a lot of scrutiny. And we don't notice that happening with Western games, right? Like you have the Abby scene in The Last of Us, which is actually pornographic, and you have the Baldur's Gate, and in fact, like most of the AAA games that come from the West have blatant sex scenes in them. Like it's not even implied. Like you have like actual sex scenes in Dragon Age, and they hire porn actors to make the moans and stuff, right? And the media is cheering. So like those pass under the radar. Those are fine. But if you have like a video game like Zoneless Zone Zero, where there's like you can zoom in and you can see the lady's tushy, or you have like something that gets Melanie Mac to spurg out, like what was it called, The Last Descendant, right, or The First Descendant. Those are going to be under insane scrutiny, and the reason is because like they notice that, okay, well, we're not offering to the market this, our competition is doing it, but our activists aren't allowing us to do it, so like we view it as unfair. So we are just going to pressure the platforms and the game journalists to crack on these games and to insult their customer base, in the hopes that our games are going to do well. But I don't think this tactic is going to be successful, because the reason is here, right? Like people just don't want to play Steam games. They don't want to play Steam games not because of the gooning material. They don't want to play Steam games because these games are shit. They're absolute shit. And so in the long run, I do expect that either these companies that are dominating the West right now, whether it's Ubisoft or Blizzard or any of the others, they're probably going to go bankrupt if they keep doing it. And you're going to have like new AA companies rising up, and I think like for a while they're going to go bankrupt as well, because they just flat out refuse to accept the market. And so yeah, Asia is going to dominate this, and eventually, hopefully, you are going to have like good Western AAA games again, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take probably 4 years, if not more. Regarding Gunnar games, I want to point out that if Mass Effect came out, if Mass Effect 2 came out now, or if Mass Effect 3 came out now, they would call it a Gunnar game. Like, think about the costume that Miranda is having. You have the character Zero. She is almost naked. Like she just has a couple of strings covering her nipples. Like the entire Mass Effect series, like Liara T'Soni is smoking hot, right? And the problem is, like, all video games from 2014 and 2016 were like this. This is not an outlier. This is not, right? And so the people that are going around and they're calling, oh, well, you're a gooder if you play these games. Have you not played video games in 2014 or 2016? No, people are just disgusted with the new aesthetics that AAA is trying to stuff down on us. Like, maybe it worked on you, maybe you're demoralized, and you think that every single female character in fiction needs to hag max, and she needs to look like a man in order for the game to be appealing to a wider audience. But the wider audience doesn't think this. Like, the other audience wants the sexy night elves and the sexy Draenei back. And the thing is, like, for me, I generally don't really care that much. But, like, what I do care about is ideological. Like, why let these people win? Why allow this culture of ugliness and a complete rejection of truth to dominate entertainment? Why would I want my son to grow up in a world where truth is being rejected, an ideology that promotes constant censorship online because it goes hand in hand, an ideology that shames people for just being themselves, like trying to get because I actually see this on Twitter, right? Like a lot of heteronormative men just hate themselves because they've been traumatized by third wave feminism. It was everywhere. It was in the press, it was in the schooling system, it was in movies, it was in video games, and all it did, it was like straight white man bad. And so you end up with people that unironically, like they dislike themselves for who they are, and you know this because you talk with them. And like, I'm sorry, but like this is unacceptable. Like, this is an ideology that I will fight tooth and nail until we get back to the point where we were back in 2016. No more nor less. So let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.